welcome again to Broad Mind, where we explore the minds of writers, authors, and beyond. I'm your host, T.L Rotkiewicz. Today's guest is Summer Sage DeYoung, and she lives with her family in Old Lyme, Connecticut, and is a 1997 Windsor High School graduate. I'm 94. She has earned her master's degree in health and healing, developed and written curriculums for multiple youth programs, ranging from snapping turtle research with National Geographic to building wooden boats and drums with inner city children. Very nice.
Thank you.
Mrs. DeYoung is also a thespian, dancer, singer, craftswoman, artist, and above all else, a storyteller. She has written 7 books, and I just love this word. I've never heard it before, but you are a self-professed authorpreneur. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Authorpreneur. Let me see. Your books include, let's see, children's books go under the name of Half Pints?
That's my logo for my children's books, is Half Pints, because they're all for early readers, so younger kids, so people can understand that they are for young kids.
Very cool. Wow. You're very creative with your names, too.
Thanks.
You have Insects, Alphabet, Shapes, and Lines book.
It's this one here.
That one right there. Okay. The Little White Flower.
This one right here. Health and Wellness book.
Very, very wonderful. I have...
That one's in the front there. It's learning through repetition, different body parts.
Oh, wow. Nice. And The Spoon Master, Adventures of Baby Christian.
Yes, and that one's over here, and those are stories I used to make up and tell to my son as he was a baby.
Oh, wow.
So those are his stories.
That's fantastic. And you have a, pardon me if I'm wrong, it's a trilogy?
I have 3 books now in my quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy.
There'll be a 4th one.
Telling you got the words.
Yes. There'll be a 4th one coming out, hopefully by the end of the year. But right now I have the first 3 out, ready.
Oh. And that is The Summer of Tsunami, Legacy Book 1.
It's this one, that's the first one. It starts the series.
The Flowers of May, Legacy Book 2.
This one here.
Very nice. And The Fall of Margaret, Legacy Book 3.
This is the last one. She just came out in January of this year.
Oh, congratulations with your book babies.
Thank you. They are my babies.
I call them that because we have the labor and everything that goes along with it.
We have to name them,
nurse
them.
Yeah.
Fix their boo-boos, all of it. Yes.
That's a great way of putting it, too. I'll have to keep that one in mind, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that you're a storyteller and you just love to write and everything. I have to ask, how old were you when you discovered the joys of writing?
I think that I was probably in middle school, and it started with writing poems and songs. And I did that all the way up through high school and college, and wrote and sang songs with a bunch of friends, and we even recorded some songs with a few friends. And I had this first book, The Summer of Tsunami, with me probably since I was like 16, and I just kept handwriting it over and over again, started it a million times, but just never quite finished it.
Yeah.
And then, as I got older and I had children, I started making up all these songs and all these books and words for my kids, and I've just had all these things just written down on pieces of paper everywhere. Yeah. And finally, a few years ago, I was like, I love doing this. This is what I absolutely love doing more than just about anything. So I sat down in front of a typewriter this time and just started typing them all in and saving them and doing the artwork for them. And all of a sudden it was like 1, and then there was 2, and there was 3. I didn't even know the 2 in the series were even there until I finished the first one. And then the second one was right there, and the third one. And so I'm like, so it just kept coming to me, and I'm like, this is definitely what I should be doing.
Wow. I started when I was in 3rd grade. And my inspiration, believe it or not, was books that my grandmother had gotten out of the library, children's books like Little Bear and Mary Sendak and stuff like that. And my mom started getting me a series of books called Serendipity.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love the morals of the stories and everything. I've watched a lot of dramas, and shame on me, being young and everything, but no.
Yeah, it's okay.
a lot of cartoons. They had their own little stories and morals and everything.
Yeah.
So I think I learned character development pretty quick, emotions and everything. So I just fell in love with it, and my third grade teacher gave log books, you know, like those composition black and white books.
Absolutely, yeah.
I filled those things so fast. And she was so impressed that I wrote so much, and I was like, it was painless, you know, where other kids, they write really big and everything. I used to write so tiny, I used to get in trouble for it.
That's all right. I love books. How can you not love books? I love to pick up a book and just get lost in it and just sit in the corner someplace and just devour it in like a day or a few hours. I love books.
I think that's the best barometer of reviewing a book, is that you really, really love it.
Love it.
Instead of taking apart technically and saying, well, I didn't like it. Yeah. I've seen plenty of reviews like that.
Yeah,
It's
This is somebody's art and his work. You can appreciate like what they've done and what they can put into it. You know? Yeah.
Interpretation too.
Yeah.
Just like artwork.
I love story, and I love a library or a bookstore. Those are like the greatest places on earth.
Oh yeah. Especially like the school book fairs they used to have all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, today's the day.
Today's the day.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Getting a little older into things. Do you have a college degree in writing?
I don't have a college degree in writing. I have my bachelor's in sociology, and then I went on and got certified as a holistic health counselor. I'm very health conscious. And then I went and got a master's degree in like health and wellness. And this was just something that I always kind of did on the side. Like, this is like my art. And like I've been drawing for years and I've been writing for years, but this is something that I never majored in or went into. It was just something that I did and have a passion for. So I just followed it.
Yeah.
I just followed it.
I've been asked so many times, I'm not trying to make the show about myself or
No
anything,
problem.
but I've been asked so many times, you know, oh, what did you graduate with? You know, just to write. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you either have it in you or you don't.
Yes.
It's a God-given talent, and some people can do it and some people cannot.
Yes. So I didn't go and get the technical skills for writing,
Exactly.
but I had the creative ability to come up with these stories and the imagination, and that's things you just can't teach.
Absolutely.
You can't teach imagination, you can't teach creativity.
No.
But you can teach skills to learn how to get better. So I'm working on all of it, but I like the stories are just coming to me, and I think that I have great stories and that I'm telling.
Yeah.
So.
It's something that a lot of people misunderstand when they come across an author. It's like, oh, well, you can write this and that, so, you know, it's easy for you. I don't know.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
And it's a lot of work. Like, some of these things take like years and years and years of your life that you're working on. Like, you're just making it better, changing things, making sure it all works, especially a series. You have to make sure it all fits and works.
Yeah.
So it's not like writing one thing and then moving on to the next project.
Right.
You know, everything's got to work, and it does take a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy, and it's a labor of love, but it is a lot of labor.
Yeah. Our first guest actually had a trilogy, if you want to say, and I was absolutely amazed at how many books he just churned out in a year or two, you know, but to make it all fit and everything. So I can only imagine that it's a lot of work. I've tried to do sequels to my own stories, and I'm like, it doesn't work. It's just, the characters have their own beginning and end, you know, and trying to do that, it just seems like it's forced sometimes, a little too much. So I thought, I'm not good with that, you know. I wish Hollywood would kind of ease off with them. Okay, but moving along, you have written 3 adult novels and 4 children's books. Can you explain what the transition is like? Like, are there 2 completely different ways that you challenge yourself in writing them?
Well, the adult books are definitely have adult content in them, so I am in a different mindset. So like the children's books are more playful, and a lot of them are like I can almost sing them because they're just like more joyful and singing, and it just kind of shows different parts of like your personality. Like, I'm not always serious and like stern and stuff. Sometimes I'm very playful. I mean, I grew up watching like Disney and Mary Poppins, and I can sing my way through like almost any Disney movie growing up. So they're very playful, and that's just a part of my personality. And I I wouldn't want, or I'm not like really, I don't want to get typecast into one kind of thing, like you write this kind of book.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I do like everything.
Yeah.
So to put me in one category is like a shame. Like I have another novel that I'm going to work on at some point that's not like either of these, you know? So it'll be its own category. And I'm like, well, why do you have to be, you know, like put in this one, like I write this, I write fiction, I write children, I write whatever I feel, whatever comes to me, you know? And these are the stories when I'm with my kids, these are the things that came out when I was with them. So that's why I wrote these stories, you know, in different parts of your life. I wrote these things when I was going through these kind of things. And life is a transition and life changes, so you can't really expect to fit or be one kind of way.
Yeah, very nice. Because I've come across people and they've said to me, children's books are harder to write than adult books. I'm just wondering, is that because you have to have children in order to write a proper children's novel, or, you know, have a better understanding of something, or the way their mindset is as opposed to an adult?
I think you do have to kind of go back and kind of be on their level. It is, because you need them to connect with you, you need your audience. So, I mean, I've been testing them out for years, like actually reading and saying them to my kids and to other kids. So they seemed to work when I was doing it. Before I even published them, I was telling these stories over and over and over again. So it seemed to work. So I feel like I had a good push. Like, yeah, it works. These kids like it. So, and I mean, you kind of do have to be on their level. It's not like the same, and you have to like be able to like deliver it in that voice that kids want to hear. So, you know, you just can't be sitting there like blah blah blah. You have to act it out. You have to have that animation, and if you can do that, then you know you got your target audience, and they really connect with it. You know, and it just helps kids get that early learning for like reading and like books that, you know, you and I have.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
And also the wording too has to be a little different, you know, differently phrased for kids as opposed to adults.
Yeah, so like this book is a little harder because I'm talking about like insects and it's more of a learning book. Yeah. But I want to expose kids to learn words like exoskeleton, you know, like you should know that if we're talking about insects. I'm trying to teach you about that. Yeah. Whereas some of the other ones are definitely like, it's like I have eyes, nose, fingers, so it's easy, you know.
Different age groups.
Different age groups, so that's right off from the beginning, from like 0 to, you know, 2 or 3, you want to get in a book like that, and right before they go into maybe school, you're going to start teaching them about like, all right, here's something about insects, exoskeletons. That's a 3 exoskeleton, like 5-syllable word, you know. So, you know, that's cool. Hard. So,
what kind of subjects do you like to write about?
I just like to write about life. I mean, what's everything? They're all life. Like even the children's books, they're all about life. Like this one's about a flower who has like a junk food problem.
I love that.
Yes.
That's something that I think every school needs to use something like that, because the cafeterias are definitely in need. And actually, before I go any further, I have to say that I think it starts at home. It does. You know, because there's some people who feed their kids junk food. I've known some too, and it's like, why?
Absolutely. I worked for a while as a health coordinator for a Healthy Start program. I was working with moms with like starting off being pregnant and having children. I worked with moms all the way up until their children were like the age of 2. And a lot of them would come in and wanted to feed their kids like the McDonald's or the chips and like, you know, just like the worst thing possible. Or, you know, you don't really have the money sometimes to afford like the healthier foods, but it was just cheaper. Like, just trying to educate them on, you know, like an apple is better than a bag of candy or a bag of chips. But, you know, it's just trying to educate. And maybe even if you can't do it completely, let's just incorporate, let's just eat more. Let's try to eat more apples, try to get more water. You know, if you can't give it up completely, let's just, you know, push some other good things in. So that book was actually very helpful with that population for me, like helping. And I didn't have it at the time, but I would tell the story to the moms and tell it to the kids. And I had like the pictures at the time, so we would go through, and it seemed to help. So
I love the interpretation, the flower, instead of preaching with kids, you know, eat this, eat that, eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we've all come across, you know, or had parents that kind of gave us stuff that we just didn't like.
Yes,
my grandmother, bless her soul. Which do you prefer writing? Adult or children's books?
I think I probably like, you know, it really just depends on the time. Like I really enjoy, when I get to the end of the project, I really enjoy all of them tremendously. And a lot of times, like now, my kids are a little older now, they're 12 and 8, but they actually work on some of the kids' books with me now, like putting them out, and it's just like
nice.
a fun, like family kind of thing. And they'll look and they'll be like, "Oh, you missed a word, Mom. You made a mistake here," and they want to like help draw. Yeah, they are. They are. My daughter and my son are like a part of my initial editing crew. They're right there. So
that's terrific.
But I do, like I get to, I really, when I get to the end, it just feels like such an accomplishment to like get to one, and they're equally hard in different ways. So like the novels, there's just a lot of writing, but I've also been illustrating like the children's books. So whereas there's less writing, like all the work that goes into creating some of the artwork takes a lot of time.
You actually do the artwork?
I do.
To these two?
I do. Yes, I have been.
Wow.
So it takes a good amount of time as well to get every picture, some of them are hand-drawn, some of them are with a computer, but like it does take a long time to get everyone. So it still is like, no matter what, it's all my art. And I love when I get to the finished product. And I get to be a little more playful, get to choose colors and stuff. So it takes a long time for the children's books as well.
Oh, I could chew your ear off about illustrating everything. I actually used to be in the art department of the high school most of the time for all 4 years. I mean, you know, I probably didn't know you. I probably didn't know half the rest of the school because I was locked in there, 5, 6 rooms. I was like, it was my second home. I would stay there until the janitors had to get me out.
I actually think that was the coolest wing. I wish I spent more time in that wing in the high school.
I loved it. I loved it.
I was busy doing other things, I don't know, but I wish I spent more time in that wing. That was the coolest wing. I didn't really discover it until I was like a senior. I was like, what?
And I just have to give a shout out to my former art teacher, Betsy Brewster. Rock. Oh, loved her. Oh, that's, wow. I guess you learn something every day. I didn't fully go through my notes, I guess. Shame on me. But that's something that you actually, so you do not only the writing, but you also do the illustrating of these books.
I do.
Instead of, because I mean, all the other authors I've come across that do children's books, they have to hire somebody. And there's usually a select few that have their own style, and it's like, okay, I know who they are. Yeah. I would love to bring on an illustrator on the show, but I wouldn't really know how to interview them.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard trying to like find somebody to capture exactly what you're trying to go for, like what you're trying to go for. And I'm not like the best artist, but I know what I want the pictures to look like. Even on the covers of my novels, like I did all the art for the front covers and the back covers as well. And
I know that feeling.
I know what I want it to look like. And there was a time when I was like looking for publishers, and you know, some of the feedback that you get, and they're like, oh, we just want to like change everything, and we like different colors. You have to put like naked people half dressed in your covers. I was like, I don't want that. It's not what I want. I don't want that. They're like, oh, I just want like some soap on the cover of my first one. Yeah. Because it's specific to that character, you know?
Yes.
And they're like, no, you gotta, and I'm like, and I just, like, you're not listening, you don't hear. I know what I want my book to say, and I know what I want it to look like.
Exactly.
And you know,
I know exactly where you're coming from. I've had problems with my my covers, and I've talked to people in marketing, and they say, well, you have to have it simple because that's what's going to sell the book. So I tried having someone who initially helped me with the inside of the book, and they wanted to do the outside. I was like, no. I know what I want to do. Especially my second book, it was it's a very labored type of story. A lot went into it, and the cover had to reflect those certain things. It was more dramatic. And I didn't want. I think I went to a small publishing company, and they said we do our own covers, and I was like, oh really? You mean like the ones that I saw on your website? Like, I'm not looking for Scholastic, because you know, you want for an adult. You, like I was saying about the marketing and age group. It depends on, you know, what you want that book to reflect. You know, but I ended up doing them all by myself because I'm very picky as to what I want to convey.
And you know the story, you know what it's about. So
absolutely,
you know, I mean, we should be able to have more artistic integrity with our own work.
Yeah,
I mean, we know these characters better than anybody. You know. And maybe,
You're telling me.
you know, maybe if there were half naked people in it, they would sell more. But I'm like, I still don't want it.
I think we've seen enough of those with the
I
romance novels.
I still don't want it. I think my covers are beautiful. I spend a lot of time organizing, you know, like this one, setting up. This is like, you know, like organizing exactly, taking the picture. Like, time. I think they're beautiful.
And you want to be taken seriously.
I do.
Okay, that's another thing. I just great segue to this, and my next question is, you are an indie author.
Yes.
Do you find it a hindrance or a positive experience in how you, as a writer, are perceived?
I think that...
It's a loaded question, I know.
Well, I think that, especially like with libraries and bookstores and stuff, I think that, in my experience so far, it seems like a lot of people, a lot of those organizations don't take you as seriously for whatever reason. I still spent the time to write a book and do all those things, and just because I didn't go the traditional way of going with a publisher, I mean, I could have, but I would have to change a lot of things that I didn't want to change. So I think that it's a little bit harder, or they think that you have more value if you have a publisher or a lit agent or something. So, so that's a challenge. But there's actually a lot of people too that are starting to open up to indie offers, because I mean, there's so many people that have so many wonderful things to say and contribute.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's just a shame that, you know, like you would not be exposed or have or hear those stories because people are blocking you out. You know, so I think there is a little bit, it's an uphill battle, but I think that there's so many of us now that things are going to change, and that you're going to see more indie authors, you're going to see more self-published authors, because there's so many of us that have so many great stories to tell, fiction, real, like there's so many, we have so many numbers. There's going to be indie bookstores everywhere. I see it.
I love it. I would love it. You know, I love to help other authors too. You know, I hate to say, but sometimes it's a dog-eat-dog world with other people, and it shouldn't be, because we're all different. We all write different things, and we shouldn't be judged in such a manner.
I wouldn't, you know, discourage anybody from going out and going that route, getting a publisher. I think that if that's what you want, you should absolutely do that. And you know, if you find yourself going that way, you should do it. And I've met so many people that have reached out and be like, "Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to write. How did you do it?" And so I'll have these dialogues with people all the time. Like, well, you know, I just did it. I just started. You know, you can go this route, and just helping people out. And I'm like, this is great. If I'm talking to people and then 3 more people come out and, you know, and then they talk to everybody, because you know everybody has been writing or has stories to say. Just get out there and do it. And you don't have to do the traditional route. You can, and you don't have to. And so it is a lot of work, and you pretty much are, I have become, like I said, my own authorpreneur, because I am doing most, if not all of the work. I'm out there marketing, I'm out there with the sales, I'm out there publishing, coming up with the artwork, writing. So, you know, I'm like a one-woman shop. I do get help from friends. I don't want to say that I'm complete, the kids are helping, but
no problem.
When I say authorpreneur, I'm really doing, this is like my work, and I'm really doing the work. It is a business.
Definitely. I've talked to people, and they said the reason that like libraries and bookstores are not, they're lukewarm on us sometimes, is that it's about distribution too, because, you know, if they can't send the books back or it's on a technical level. And I've also discovered that when I've said that, oh yeah, I've written a couple books, oh, who's your publisher? It's like, what do you need to know that for? You know, I mean, when you go to a record store, I know I'm really dating myself, when you want to get a piece of music, do you look at the label and say, okay, well, it's so-and-so, so I'm going to get this? You know, who really does that? I
mean, I feel like the book world is a little less forgiving in that way. So
it's
like,
a little fickle.
Yeah, so like movies, like you can put out, I've seen like the worst movies ever. So you like, all these movies that come out, or like music that just don't make any, like lyrics that don't make any sense can go out. But you can't write a book. I mean, if you write a book, then people are like all over, like really ready to, I'm like, are you kidding me? You hear the garbage that's coming out? Like, all right, but I feel like the book world is harder, but I mean, if you love it, you love it. And you do it, and you know, and when I first came out, of course, I made a ton of mistakes. There was nobody to teach me, there was nobody to show me, and I had to go back and I had to do like re-edits and edit some more and change covers, and you know, sometimes, and I mean, that'll just happen, like, you know, And I think that a lot of people just assume that when you are on your own that you're gonna just put out crap or something like that. And that's not what we're intending to do. We're trying to put out the best product that we can. But I think that they have that negative association with you, that just because you're self-published, that it's not going to be.
It's like, oh, self-published, that's a bad word. I've come across libraries that, you know, and you say, oh, well, there's some indie authors. Oh, you mean self-publishing?
Yes.
It's like, oh, you know, it makes you kind of want to crawl into a little corner.
Yeah, I just stand up proudly now, like, yes, I am.
Like, I know.
I'm an indie author. Yes, that's who I am.
I have to make
it's a wonderful thing. I have total creative control over my work.
That's exactly what I was thinking of, because I know some people that have tried to get their books published. You know, they've worked on it for so long, and they knew exactly what their story was supposed to be about and how they wrote it, and they were so proud of it. Then they go to their agent or whatever, publisher, and they tell them to change it, and they don't recognize it anymore. It's like it's not their own story.
It's not. And so I've talked to a few publishers too, and they wanted to change like so many things, and I didn't understand it. Like one publisher told me that they need to have their like hero and heroine meet on page 7.
Yeah.
That's the stamp. All of it. So I had to like cut out like 12 pages in order to make sure these people met on page 7. And I was like, I mean, like, who does that happen to? I was like, I didn't meet my husband on page 7. I don't think I met any boyfriend I've ever dated on page 7. Like, where's that rule at? So, I mean,
pacing is.
Yeah, I was like,
they don't understand that.
I'm like, this is like a journey. This is a story. They'll meet at some point.
Yeah.
Probably page 19, but they'll get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then another story, maybe they'll meet on page 2. I don't know. But I don't want to be like, I don't want to have to follow this guideline that every time I write something, they have to meet on page 7, and I have to make that the thing. I'm like, it doesn't, you know, I want my stories to reflect more like life, like real life. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen on page 7.
No, no.
It may not even happen on page 37.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. You know, like I said, pacing and then conflict, especially when you're writing a story, you want things to lead up to that point. Yeah. Let's see. For me, I think it would start on like, well, you said 37. I'd say like 55 or something, because it needs time to build up.
It does.
But when it comes to publishing, people don't have that luxury, and it seems like that they want to. What do I want to say? They want to run it, but then yet it just doesn't.
To me, it felt like they had a formula, and they had a formula that worked for them, and so that's how they wanted all their books to come through, because that was a formula they could sell over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't want to fit the formula.
Yeah. So I think it's more based on commercialism as opposed to artistic integrity.
Yeah.
Artistic control.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's really something. But we need to actually wrap up our time.
Okay.
I've thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you.
I could probably go on for another half hour talking about different things, because there's probably other things on the agenda I could have asked you about, but you're absolute joy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I congratulate you on your absolute wonderful work. I'm sorry I didn't do all my homework to illustrate.
That's quite all right.
God bless you for that.
I don't even think I even probably listed it that I was illustrating my own book, so don't worry about it.
Do you have a website?
I do have a website. It is Some Sages, because my name is Summer Sage, somesages.wordpress.com, and all of my books are available on Amazon, or if you follow me around. I do travel and go to different events as much as I can.
Yeah.
So you may see me out.
Yeah.
Please stop by. Support indie authors, not just me. Support us all. We're out here. We're working.
Woohoo.
We're all entrepreneurs. So please support indie authors. Stop by. You know, check out Tracy's books as well.
And like I said, thank you so much, and it's an absolute joy.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Broad Mind. I'm your host, T.L Rotkiewicz. Until then.